Good morning. Welcome to the Sunday morning writing stream. I'm one of your hosts, Gillian St. Kevern, writer of Gothic Nonsense and Paranormal Fluff. And with me is my co-host, Jamie Sands.
Hello. I write cute, spooky stuff.
Yay! Cute, spooky stuff is the best spooky stuff.
It's my brand.
Yay. With us this morning is Johanna, who is working on some sad emotional stuff today, which, I often put off writing the character argument or breakup or sad scenes.
I honestly just try not to plot them into my work so I don't have to write them.
I am the idiot who, despite really hating those kind of scenes, decided to write a book where one of my main characters die. That was...
Having said that, I did my last Fairyland book, ended up having some very heavy stuff in it because I was working through some of my own stuff at the same time. So, I can plan, but it doesn't always work.
Yeah. So having said that, I got one of my favorite reviews of all time for The Lord and the Banshee. The review was 4 stars, and it was just crying emoji, crying emoji, crying emoji.
I mean, we love it, right? We love if we can move people.
Yeah, but I don't...
It's easier to make people laugh than it is cry, so...
Yeah, but the good news is that having written The Lord and the Banshee, I don't need to write it again, so...
It's true.
It's done, it's out there, and from everything from here in that universe is uphill because the worst has already happened.
Yeah. Uphill, downhill.
Downhill. Well, it's like, is it up, like up positive or down?
Yeah, it's easier to go downhill.
Yeah. Okay.
I watched the cycle race in the Olympics yesterday, and the difference between slogging uphill on the bikes and scooting downhill was pretty impressive.
I just realized I could give my characters in this universe a penny farthing to scoot downhill on.
And you should.
Yeah. One of my characters in a series that I have written 2 books and 2.5 books in, but not published or done anything with. One of them is one of the first sort of early adopters of the motor vehicle, and he loves to drive fast, and he is a terror to everyone else in this series of books.
I love it.
Yep.
So he can just turn up in all the later books, terrifying people on the street.
Yep. Driving fast in those days with 30 miles an hour. Yeah, he is a total hellion and a menace to society. Okay.
I love it. I love writing characters like that.
Yep. So what are we working on today? I have, she says, not giving anyone else the opportunity to talk. I'm continuing the Vampire's Ward or Vampire Ward. I'm sort of between titles, but I've been told Vampire Ward is sexier. So, yep, I'm on to chapter 5, where in my naive debutante meets her guardian for the first time, unaware that said guardian is a vampire, and she meets him in the most awkward way possible. So I'm really enjoying writing that. He has a marble statue in his garden, and now sort of most of the like Greek and Roman god statues in the Victorian period, they censored them. There is an entire
The fig leaves.
there is an entire like collection in the British Library of all of the penises that were chopped off statues to spare, Victorian sensibilities. This statue has not been altered or obscured in any way. And she's like, what the hell? Is this correct? What is going on here? And while she's trying to figure this out, her guardian is like, excuse you, what is doing in my garden? So it's not fun times for either of them. What are you up to, Jamie?
So I'm going to keep going on Monsters and Manuscripts, which is my witchy fiction sequel with my library witch and paranormal investigator with a YouTube channel. That was living together. So it's quite nice, but I have to remember that it is a novella and not a novel. But I've also got some edits on the book I finished last week from my wife. So if I get bored, I might switch to those, but probably what I'll do is wait and do those tonight in tonight's writing sprint, because it's a little less stinky.
Yeah, and we already know that Johanna is writing grief and sadness and all the sorrow.
Good luck.
Yeah. Hopefully you have something nice to reward yourself with on the other side of this. But before we do any writing at all, we need to warm up.
Do
you have... Yes, please.
Okay. I'm going to use my regular tarot deck today because they don't get much love at the moment. You have to tell me when to stop, though.
Oh, yes, sorry. And stop.
Okay. Two of Swords.
Oh, that's cool.
They're like at a circus or something. They're just kind of staring at some swords.
Yeah. From memory, the Two of Swords can indicate like a stalemate or like the inability to make a decision.
Let's see what my book says. It says
so those two gentlemen just
opposites.
Yeah.
Balance of opposing forces. Yeah, so it can be a stalemate, it can be a truce. So it could be either harmony or the, like you said, like it's tension. Oh, interesting. Diplomacy, it says. Vital
cool.
decisions. What was I doing? I need my warm-up book. Right.
That's all really interesting. So Johanna is not allowing herself coffee until she's done with the scene. So in this scenario, Two of Swords could represent, the stalemate of wanting coffee but not having coffee.
I like that it's also like a punishment, like a withheld reward rather than a success, like a happy reward at the end, which is very Swords. Swords are all about the stick rather than the carrot.
Yeah. Johanna says that card makes sense for me. My characters need this trauma/sorrow to progress forward in a positive way, but this will also change them in other ways. It will get worse before it gets better.
That's really good, actually. That's probably true for my characters as well.
Yep.
I might just journal. Okay. Let's see what happens.
5 minutes to stretch our creative muscles, starting now. Okay, so that is 5 minutes up. How did you get on?
I'm really pleased. I realized that what I needed to do was write from the other character's point of view, because my book is just one POV, and
Yeah.
what I needed was to write from the other guy's point of view to work out what it is he really wants. So I can
Oh,
put that
cool.
into the book. Yeah, so very happy with myself.
That's fantastic.
And maybe I can expand that out and use it as like a reader magnet or something eventually, if I ever manage to do something like that.
Very cool. I just kind of rambled about what Johanna had said about things getting worse before they get better, and how that's true for characters and stories, but also when we encounter difficulties. So Johanna managed 151 words of characterization for a pair of new characters in her scene. Brilliant. Well, it sounds like we are all warmed up and our creative muscles are raring to go.
Yeah.
So let's hop in to our first sprint.
Organizing.
I don't know about interesting, but it was very good to kind of solidify those thoughts, Johanna, and kind of remind myself that, when life throws you lemons, there is always something to learn and gain from it. Um, I went out yesterday to do some grocery shopping and my car didn't start. And at first I thought the battery was just flat because my niece and nephew had been in my car and they love playing with my light. So I hop in and the light is on. So that was my first thought. Unfortunately, it's a battery issue. I'm like 99% sure that the battery needs replacing, and I haven't gone out to start my car today because I'm afraid that when I do, the battery will not start, and then I will know 100% that I need a new battery.
Yeah.
But this is not the end of the world. So yeah. 20 minutes of writing and not thinking about my battery.
Not thinking about cars.
Yep. Starting now. Okay, so that was our first 20-minute sprint. Let's see. I got 535 words, which is absolutely brilliant.
I got 653, but I had to
Fantastic.
stop and look up a map of Mount Eden as I was going because it's set in Mount Eden and I needed a street name.
Yeah. How did you get on, Johanna? 579 very difficult words. Well done. Sad words count twice, so that's equal to 1,000, probably 1,140 regular words. So
I agree.
fantastic work there. So before we started today's sprint, Jamie and I were just talking very briefly about story structure. And Jamie mentioned earlier that they've got the challenge of keeping this current work within sort of novella bounds.
So my happy place to write in is, I'm looking around for a book. Here we go. It's about this length. Oh, everything fell down. Which is about 55,000 or 60,000, around there, sort of 50 to 60,000 is about where I'm happy writing. I like that pace. But with the Witchy Fiction Project, we have a novella rule.
Yeah.
So I think this one's about 20,000. Can't really remember, 21 maybe. And I find it hard to kind of get the pacing right because I'm used to writing longer. I want to be able to spread stuff out a bit more. But with a novella, you have to keep the pace up. And I'm like, even just now in that sprint, I'm like, am I describing too much? Have I got space to describe this? Or do I need to move on? So that's my challenge at the moment. Any advice welcome. I do write with, like I've already plotted it. I know the beats and when things will happen. But I do deviate from that a little bit, especially when it comes to description and stuff.
Yeah. As I mentioned on, I think, yesterday's sprint, I don't, although I tend to like very heavily plot and outline, I don't feel like a story has come into its own until it goes off the rails.
Yes, you did.
So my advice would be, don't worry, write the story and then edit it and look at the pacing as part of the editing process. Because a couple of times I've run into issues where I didn't fully understand the story I was writing until I got to the final chapter, and I was like, oh, this is what my character wanted, and this is where they were going after all, which actually, I had to write the story to get to that point, and no amount of plotting would have brought me that understanding. And now that I know what the story actually was, I could go back and edit it.
And often when I find when something like that happens to me, that there are hints of it earlier on that you can kind of pull out and make more of, which is really satisfying.
Yeah. So Johanna says, I feel your pain, Jamie. I struggle with novellas too. My books are usually 120K to 150K. This is really really interesting because when I started, my books were 120K minimum. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen a copy of Thorns and Fangs, but that book could double as a weapon. It is bulky. And the reason for that is I love my long, intricate, twisty plots and interacting sort of character arcs and relationships and stuff. I just love that. But I was getting way too complicated and I was losing people because it was too twisty and convoluted. And so I think writing novellas has been really great for me because it's forcing me to untangle my plots, basically. And I think this is making me a better writer, but I've got the issue now with Sorcerer's Heart, which I think will be 70, 80K. And I'm really struggling to finish it because I'm like, I've been writing it for so long. It should be done right now. And it's like, no, you're in for the long haul. You have to get back into the novel
This
mindset.
one's the long haul one. Yep.
Yep. I've got a structure problem with my current story, in that I worked out my plot and my scene list and sort of looked at things so there'd be an roughly equal amount of scenes in every act. Like, I think it's really important to have the first act and the fourth act kind of the same size, and then the second and third acts the same size, so that your middle point hits exactly in the middle.
Oh.
And that's kind of
I
keeping
don't think I've ever paid attention to that in my books.
Well, I think I struggle with pacing, but I've found that if I kind of make sure that I've got if I look at it in terms of like balance, that kind of keeps the pace moving in what I hope is a satisfying way for readers. My problem at the moment is that Ursula was supposed to arrive at Castle Moody, meet Uncle William, and have the argument about launching her into society in one scene.
Right.
But that's actually going to be 3 different scenes, I feel like, because
it's a lot to have happen.
There is a lot to happen. And so now I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to write this and see how long Act 1 actually takes. And then I may have to adjust at the end, or, and this is what I've got my fingers crossed hoping for, as I write later acts, there will be other moments like this where the characters need more time to breathe or take me on little side quests or
side quests, I love that.
Johanna says sometimes the characters have so much more to say than you anticipate. And when that happens, it's magic and the story is better for it. So you have to kind of allow that breathing room. I think my problem is that I like to be in control and have a plan, and I'm not good at letting go of that control and being flexible. But that flexibility is absolutely essential.
I do like it when because I mean this book's already gone off the rails because I had a surprise extra character, which means that she has her own plot happening, which obviously my main characters are involved in now. So that's adding stuff that I didn't plot for, but it all ties into the main stuff, so I'm okay with it. But at the same time, I'm also trying to sow seeds for another book, a young adult spin-off of this. Which is another plot again. and then as I was writing this morning and doing that the warm-up, I realized I know what the third book is going to be now.
Yay!
So it's like, how can I foreshadow all of this while keeping it novella length and pacey without getting too much into the weeds of the other stuff? And you're right, I just have to write it and then see how it is. And if it gets too bogged down, my beta readers will tell me about it. So
that sounds like a challenge, but what a fun challenge to have.
It is a fun one. I love this world.
Johanna's editor has banned her from using the P word, plan, because every single time she tries to plan something too specifically, her characters fight back and it's not pretty.
I have to force myself to plan. I have to do it because otherwise my books just make no sense. They just ramble. They're stream of consciousness. So I have to have a level of planning. But I'm very happy to change it and bring a red pen in and actually this is happening now. I have to because the characters fight back.
I went through a phase where at a certain point of every book, I would have to stop and replot the entire thing. and I'm
Yeah.
hoping to. I want to move on from that because it was a really frustrating experience.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Johanna says that she also doesn't write chronologically, so planning is hard.
I have to write chronologically these days. I
Hmm.
didn't used to, but I think I don't think I could go back now.
Yeah, I tend to write chronologically unless I hit a problem I can't solve. And then sometimes jumping ahead a chapter or two and writing helps me unblock myself. But I think it would be a lot of fun to be able to travel through your story and just write bits and pieces like that. Okay. I think I don't know, but talking about all of these problem with plots has made me all fired up to like show my
Yes,
characters who's boss and get some more words
good.
done. Which is just horribly backfires. Johanna writes all the big moments which
Yeah.
are loudest in her head and then fills in the gaps. And
Okay.
sometimes this means she has to go back and add detail or foreshadowing, but it still sounds like a really smart way to write.
Yeah, it does. And hey,
Okay.
if it makes sense for you, like if it works for you, then yeah, do it. There's no
Yeah,
right
there is
way.
no one size fits all advice when it comes to writing.
Mm.
So 20 more minutes of
Yep.
sadness for Johanna, for embarrassment for me, and plot
Goes to
confusion
investigation
for
for me.
Jamie. Awesome. Yeah, that's much better. Okay. Back to work starting now. Okay. It is 10 past 11. We have finished our second sprint of the day. How are we getting on?
We got 569 words.
Brilliant. It's really good. I got 536. Is that what I got last time?
I think it was.
Oh no. Okay, this is hilarious. Last time I wrote 535.
Oh wow. You got faster by one word.
That is so funny.
Some tears. Oh, Joe.
But 777 words is outstanding. Go you.
And it's because they count double.
Yes. When you were writing through tears, they definitely count double.
Definitely.
Oh, okay. I think it might be time for a bit of a longer break. Perhaps Johanna can get that coffee. I need the bathroom. Shall we?
Hot drink.
Yeah. Shall we return at 1:15?
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Right. See you then.
See you then. Yay. I know you're not here, Johanna, but I am really pleased that you are getting yourself that coffee. You have definitely deserved that. I'm just pouring myself a glass of water. Well, it's not much of it's not a super exciting snack, but I have some toast and a banana left over from breakfast. Ooh. So I had a bit of an issue falling asleep last night. I think it's just that I've had a couple of nights of very good sleep, apart from the night before with my Canadian geese nightmare. But whatever the reason, so you actually no, that doesn't make sense. I should have slept really well last night, but for whatever reason, it just took me ages to fall asleep. And then it was Jamie's turn to have a nightmare. So I think we maybe both of us are struggling a little bit today.
I mean, I was glad I got to go back to sleep after my nightmare. It made a huge difference. I'd be a wreck if I hadn't managed that, but I did, so that's good. It's not always the case. Sometimes with a nightmare, I can go straight back into it if I fall back to sleep, so I'm careful of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I did have some advice that if you have a nightmare and you want to go back to sleep, the best thing you can do is change your position in bed, like turn over or reorient yourself sometime. Like that might change something about how you dream. I don't know if it's true. I've never tried it, but
It's definitely worth a try.
yeah. I mean, I did change my position before I went back to sleep this morning, so maybe it worked.
Mm-hmm. Johanna is getting that coffee, which I think you'll agree, totally well deserved.
Totally earned. I got myself my Milo.
Oh, that's a cool mug.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's especially good to give to guests. Just be like, here you are.
I want to get those coffee mugs. Sorry, those beautiful flowery teacups that you see on Etsy that have "This is poison" written on the bottom of the cup.
Yes. Yeah. You've just been poisoned.
Mm-hmm.
So dark, so good.
Yep. That is very rude. Joanna started making a coffee and everyone else wanted one. They can make their own
Everyone else
coffee.
write emotional stuff to earn it.
Exactly.
You expressed interest in the print on my wall, Gillian. Which one was it?
Oh, yes. Yes, I did. It's that bottom one there. Oh, my gosh. Okay. So it's the one with the crescent moon.
Oh, yeah.
But
So
now I
this
get to
is
see the
a
others.
print of the High Priestess, a lino cut by my friend Gino, who lives in Wellington.
Very cool.
He's been drawing for ages. He only just got into lino prints, and he shared the design for that one online, and I was like, I love it. So he sent me a limited edition. It's number 4 of 10. Only
It is
made.
so cool. It is so good to have artist friends.
Yeah, it is. And most of the stuff on this wall is art by people I know. That one's mine. Ooh, that one.
Yeah.
That one. And then this one was from another writer. Up the top is a picture of Mochi.
Very cool.
What else have I got there? Oh, there's one in the middle there. This one is Jacinda as St. Catherine.
Oh, have you seen my Ashley Bloomfield t-shirt?
I haven't.
Okay. I have one in the same sort of vein as that. It's Ashley Bloomfield as a medieval saint with kind of holding the coronavirus.
Yeah, she's got bread. She's holding bread and it says "Be strong and be kind" underneath it. Yeah, that's by my friend Soraya, who's in New Plymouth, I think. Yeah, so I've been trying to collect art by my friends to put up as inspiration.
That is very cool. I will draw you something. I am really good at drawing my nephew and niece and making them look like Chucky, from Toy Story. Not Toy Story.
Child's Play.
Child's Play, yes.
It's a slightly darker movie.
Yes.
Although both are about toys coming to life, so
I would not be complaining if they looked like Toy Story characters, but no, they look really distressing. And my sister actually reckons I could make quite a profitable business selling like offering to do kids' pictures, and people could commission me
Yeah.
to do portraits of children whose parents they dislike. So it's like, here is this beautiful hand-drawn actually.
You'd be like, look, it's custom made.
Yeah.
And then they'd have to display it because you'd gifted it to them and it's their child. I love it.
Yeah.
When I was last in Japan, we were there over Halloween and we went to Osaka Universal Studios, and they have big Halloween festivities and horror fest and all this stuff. And they had this whole line of Hello Kitty as Chucky from Child's Play. And I didn't buy any of the merchandise, and I'm really kicking myself over it now because it's so strange. It's like sweet, innocent Hello Kitty just drenched in blood with a big knife. And why didn't I? I should have got a t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's one of the regrets.
Japan is such a dangerous country. Like, I could never save money living there.
Oh, no. Well, except if you had to, because your house was so tiny.
That didn't stop me. Okay, this is moving out of my apartment. I had enough copies of Shonen Sunday, the weekend, like the weekly magazine that's like the size of a phone book, that I could have made a bed out of them. And actually, at one point, I thought about constructing either a bed or an armchair because I just like, I have to do something with these. Oh dear.
An armchair out of them would be amazing.
Yeah. No, Japan is not a good country to live in if you like stationery or collect things of any kind.
This notebook we're using is Japanese stationery, in fact. It's
yeah.
Yeah, I bought a lot of notebooks when I was over there. And so much washi tape. We're still working through the washi tape we bought. So much.
Yeah. When I came back to New Zealand, I had an entire box, like this size box from the floor up to here, full of like blank notebooks and stuff. And I was like, it makes no sense to pay to fly these back to New Zealand. And so I gave them away to students and other teachers. And I'm like, no, I should have sent them home. But when I lived in Japan the first time, you could still send things by ship. And they ruled that out, and that just made my life 10 times harder.
What a pain.
Okay. So Ursula has and Uncle William are at odds. They have not figured out who each other are, and so I've got a fun comedy of errors to play with.
I'm still just establishing stuff in this scene. Well, no, it's not true. They're still investigating ghosts. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, and Johanna.
It's not a ghost. That's what they need to do.
Oh, cool. So, yeah, Johanna, having talked about pretty things and made you laugh, we're now going to send you back to the dark place.
Back into the mine.
Okay. 20 minutes starting now. Okay. That is our third sprint finished. And I'm just scrolling up to see, yes, 534. That is so funny.
Amazing. I got 797. I hit my stride with that one.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. They have ruled out ghosts now.
Good job. Oh, Johanna got 666, which weirds her out since her last count was 777.
So will the next one be 888 or 555? It's the real question.
Yeah. So during that last sprint, Jamie sent me a private message. Do you want to share that with the class?
Yes. One of the things I've noticed filming these is that I pull faces as I write them. So I had a character kind of smiling, and I was like, so that's if you notice me pulling strange faces during this, it's because that's what I'm writing. I'm trying to imagine how to describe what I'm doing.
I don't know if I do that when I'm writing, but I definitely did that when I was drawing more.
Oh,
And
yeah.
when I was in seventh form, for my final term of school, I went into the boarding hostel attached to my school. So my family had moved houses to the point where I couldn't commute to school daily.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't think anything of it. I just sat around the boarding hostel with my sketch pad. A few years later, my sister is in the boarding hostel and she's having a hard time with the seventh former pushing her around. And then the matron calls her, and this seventh former was like, "Hang on, last name, are you Gillian's sister?" And my sister was like, "Yeah." And the seventh form was like, "Oh my gosh, your sister, proper psycho." She was like always making these creepy faces like she's planning to kill someone. How do you live with her? And they gave my sister like respect the rest of the year.
Amazing. In case you came back and wreaked your
Yeah.
terrible revenge.
Mhm.
Well, I'm glad that my weird faces as I write are noticeable.
Johanna also pulls faces when sketching people. Awesome.
I haven't got back into sketching people yet. I'm working up to it. I'm trying to draw plants at the moment because I sort of signed up for this 100 days of practice, but I've really fallen behind on it. Pretty much all I'm drawing at the moment is plants or Muppets.
I need to draw anything. I've got my little sketchbook. I will just grab it and see what the last thing I drew was. Okay, that's actually decent. I did a pot
Pretty.
plant.
Yeah, a peace lily.
I think this was actually inspired by you, Jamie.
Yeah, drawing plants is good fun. There's a lot going on with them.
Yeah, but we are not here to draw plants. We are
Sitting
here to
around
write
waiting
words.
for me to pick it up.
Oh, that's lovely. That's really gorgeous.
Cherry blossoms.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yes, but you're right. We're not here to draw flowers.
But if anyone wants to draw, there is a sit and sketch live stream that I can recommend
Oh, really?
by Mary Doodles, I think her name is.
So cute.
So Hannah says she's seen your plants on Facebook. They're great. I also love your Muppets. I mostly sketch people because I went to fashion school and people have always fascinated me. I also draw my characters. I want to draw my characters.
I want to draw my characters too. I'm building up to drawing people. I'm going to get there because I do love drawing people as well. But so many of my art teachers in school were like, "Oh, people are the hardest. Oh, blah blah blah." So it kind of, I've got this fear about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to draw my characters very much.
So let's see. It's 11:49. Let's do a 10-minute final sprint.
Sounds good.
Johanna, we are meeting back here this evening, in theory, at 7:00.
Not here, on my channel.
Yes, so we're meeting 7 p.m. on Jamie's channel for an evening sprint. We cannot promise that we will be awake and aware, but we will give it our best shot. We tend to get a little bit loopy in the evenings.
A little bit. I'm all right when I'm doing it on my own. It's when you're here.
Yeah, I'm a... yeah.
Bad influence.
Yep. Okay. But we are going to be very nice and well behaved for the rest of the 10 minutes. Oops. Okay, so I'm going to start the timer. Then I'm going to share the link that Jamie has just given me. And then, yeah, get back to work. So 10 minutes starting now.
Yes.
Hi, Anna.
The threat of being on camera was enough to make her stop.
Okay, that is our final sprint. And gosh, where do I even start?
Well, I only got 324 words, but I was rudely interrupted by a spouse returning home.
How rude. I don't know. I don't know where I started, but I have a total of 1,890 words today, which is really cool. I finished one scene and started another. So very, very happy with that.
Really good. How much did I get done this morning?
Oh, this is interesting. Johanna got to 532, which was almost 555.
So close. So I've had 2,371 words this morning. Very happy with that.
As you should be.
Mm.
Well, I am very proud of all of us, actually.
Me too.
So, I guess we're now going to disappear off about our Sundays.
Get some lunch.
Refuel, relax, and get back to work this evening.
Yeah,
It'll be fantastic to have you with us, Johanna. Hopefully you can help Jamie keep me in check and we can all get some more words.
Fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. See you tonight.
See you then. Bye.